Hello, everybody. All right, I finally got the mic working. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sketchcraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire. And if you're joining in for the very first time, you should know that I typically rant about art, movie, and comic-related news stuffs, and whenever Brandon breathes into the phone and stuff like that. Chosen by either myself or you, the live audience. Joining me today is Brandon Let Heavy James. Breathe a little. Oh, no, 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 no! Don't ever do that again. That's a bad idea, dude. I don't appreciate that. And upcoming superstar artist Ashley Gangfeather West.
Can you
Yep.
hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Someone out
Yeah,
there can hear
I'm
you.
here. I'm here now.
What
All
they're
right.
hearing is that you need to get a headset. Like that's what they're hearing. Aren't you like a millennial? Like don't you like all have headsets now and
I do
stuff?
have a headset, but I also have a Yeti mic. So
Ooh, wow. I used to have one of those, and for some reason this sounds better. It's just crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
But Wesley has the best mic. Like Wesley, like I can't get my sound to come through as good as Wesley. I just think he has like the best voice ever. So, anyways, Ashley's brand new to the podcast. So, Ashley, really quick, I want to talk about you for a second. Every so often, I meet an artist on the internet that I'm like, that person's going somewhere. Joey Vasquez, one of them. Ray Hyatt was one of them. Megan Hetrick, one of them. And I'll be honest, you got a future. Ashley, if you don't know her, she's working her ass off. You draw what, like every night? Like,
Yeah, I like deprive myself of sleep. Like probably you do too.
yeah,
So
you're the only one posting at 4 a.m. when I'm posting. I'm like, hey, look at that. Like, and so for like
yeah,
several months now, I've been like, hey, well, she's working, and quite, I'll be honest, like I wish I could draw that good at whatever young age you are. Like, like I just know, like even 10 years, I was like,
20, 24 now.
I would never ask, but let's
Yeah.
just say that, yeah, it's pretty good. So if you haven't checked out Ashley's stuff, I'd like to give you a plug right now. Where can we find your art?
You can find my art at you can find my art I'm Gang Feather, and you can find it Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. What am I missing?
Instagram?
Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, pretty
Awesome,
much all those.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I wanted to have Ashley on because she's asked me a lot of questions over the last few months, and I've been like, she probably got a few more. Should have her on, see how she, if you take. And we're on the cusp of Star Wars, so it's always good to have a varying degree of demographic to talk about. What I'm pretty certain we all, I mean, my neighbor's downstairs right now. I can hear the lightsabers, like everyone's going Star Wars crazy. So I just want to talk really quick about Star Wars, and then Ashley, you can pick the next topic. How about that, right?
Okay.
So Brandon
Yes.
chose the topic. Let's see if you can start this off. You go ahead and read it.
What if Star Wars is bad? What should we expect to be good? And what should we not get our hopes up so big for?
Who wants to go first?
Ashley does.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Well,
What if
I
what if Star Wars was bad?
right. Well, okay, first off, I know I'm not as big of a fan as both of y'all are, but I am familiar with the series. In fact, I was watching this episode 6 tonight, so I'm kind of refreshed. But yeah, I think that they kind of just have a lot shoes to fill. That's all I can say. You know, I mean, I don't really have a lot to add to it. So
no big deal. Brandon, your question is, what if the movie's bad?
Yeah.
Well,
As
then,
far
then
as
10 years from now, we'll get a reboot starring a whole new cast. I mean, Star Wars has already survived bad Star Wars films. I mean, and not like just the prequels. It's not like I'm bashing the
right.
prequels. When I was a kid, I had to endure a little flick called the Ewok Adventure. It was my first taste at like, well, they're calling it Star Wars, but I don't really. I mean, Wicket, I mean, I get it. That was bad. The Ewok Adventure was bad. The second movie, there was another one like Wicket's Adventure, is one of the most depressing films I've ever had. I mean, that's right up there with. There was a Charlie Brown special, like I think it was called like Why Charlie Brown, in which one of the kids got leukemia or cancer.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, they played this
I
on.
went dark real fast.
Yeah, you've only played it once, and it was like, why, why,
Yeah.
that was pretty rough. I remember that one, and the Dark Crystal was just fucking scary. So I don't think the movie's gonna be bad. I think
Could could the hype carry a bad movie? Could the hype carry another Phantom Menace?
Well, yeah, it carried three. Well, sure, because after the Phantom Menace, you got the Attack of the Clones, which was worse than that. Then you got, Revenge of the Sith, and here's the thing. Having worked on Star Wars merchandise, I can honestly tell you that um, the strength of the three films can lead merchandising. One of the things George Lucas said all the time was concerning the prequels to the original trilogy was that, well, the prequels made more money. And at the box office, that's true because we had a lot more movie screens, tickets cost more. But in merchandise, no. And I can honestly tell you, no. When that Phantom Menace 3D re-release came out, that was the last time I worked on the property. Nothing sold. Like no Darth Maul, no nothing ever. That's why the other 3D movies actually didn't come out in the theater because it just would have cost more money than it was. They were just there to kind of move merchandise, and they tasked us in the art department. I remember. I mean, we were one of many licensors, but when you have a license, you pay money every year to retain that license in hopes that you will go and sell a bunch of shit and cover the costs and make some money. And nothing was selling. And they were like, well, this is fine. I gotta have Joe on sometime to talk about this. But it was literally 2012, and they were like, so Rob, they were like, how do we save this? And my response was, they need a new movie. They need to George Lucas needs to stop making Star Wars movies and hand it to someone. And I was like, get a Brad Bird or that guy who did Star Trek and like make this shoot in real locations and make it look like the old trilogy and have people who could die and stop making fart jokes and shit. And I'm like, that'll solve it. But until then, there's nothing we can do. And no art director, by the way, actually wants to hear you tell him that there's nothing you can do.
Right.
It's all over. There's nothing we can do. It's out of our hands. So weird as it may be, they have done exactly what I said they should do. So I'm actually really anxious to see if I was right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna ask Ashley if she has do you have a favorite character that you like from the new look of the new movie? Like, is there anybody that stands out that you find badass out of all of them? And if you don't know their names, don't feel bad. I don't know a lot of them.
There's Finn and Poe and all, but I forgot who's who.
Yeah, have you seen?
Finn.
Have you seen the Attack of the Block?
No.
Okay, so
the Blob?
No, it's Attack of the Block, Block. It's a British film that he starred in a couple years back. It's about aliens that land in a ghetto. So some evil alien creatures crash and they land in a ghetto, and it's actually it's like a horror movie with a little bit of the '80s Goonies magic.
Right.
But these are thugs. He's a thug. Him and his little gang of hooligans rob
They all
people.
got their bats and brass knuckles and.
Yeah, and they go after and these aliens are vicious. But they're glow, kind of like you saw the Pitch Black.
Yes.
Yeah. So they have that kind of that Pitch Black thing going on. I'd say it's a cross between Pitch Black and Gremlins and Alien.
Huh.
Yeah. So if you ever get a chance to check out Attack of the Block, you can see that's what got his attention.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you're more of into Marvel and stuff, right?
Me?
No?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, that's actually,
But I'm into DC too. I don't know. I mean, I'm like halfway. I'm not biased. So.
Do you prefer female characters or male characters in these movies?
Okay, male actually. Just because I don't know why. I just like male characters.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
my character in my own story is male, so I don't know. I just gravitate to it easier, I guess.
So Brandon, there you go. That's I don't expect the movie to be bad. What do you think, Brandon? If the movie's horrible, what happens?
we'll still get another one.
Oh, we'll get another one. They're already shooting 2 more right now. So a year from now, we get an anthology film, and 6 months after that, you get episode 8. Doesn't matter. So that's basically it. We're stuck with Star Wars now. No matter what.
It's a juggernaut. It's not going to stop now. It's going to keep going and going.
Yeah, I heard that the people that started out with the series won't be alive by the time it's done, because I guess because it'll just keep going, I guess. But
no, they're not going to take 3 years to come out in between each other. So that's I could
Yeah,
understand if it were like Phantom Menace came out in '99 and then Attack of the Sith comes out in 2005. Like the actor's not making it. Like the older ones. I could understand that.
well, and I wasn't even like talking about actors. I was like talking about like people that
Production
watch it,
crew.
or no, like fans, like people
Oh,
that following the series. Yeah, like they were saying that long.
she's calling you old, Rob.
No, I'm just like saying like people just I don't know. Like I don't know what age they were talking about. So
I'm old. I get it.
well, actually no, you're not.
No, but I get.
Brandon's bald though, so I'm working on it. I'm almost there, but I'm not there yet. Let's move on. This is kind of sad. So speaking of bald, I wanted to. Okay, actually, no, I'll segue into this really quick. I want to let everyone know really quick about an anime. If you haven't watched it, it's called One Punch Man. I've been watching it since the second it came out on Hulu. I got
Say it with more. Say it with more. Say the name right. Just,
One Punch. Oh, One Punch! Right? One Punch! Right?
there you go.
Yeah, One Punch Man. I'm telling you right now, it's a treat. It's one of those rare exports. You're just like, thank you, anime gods, for bringing me this. It's a comedy. It's a superhero. One Punch Man, and I'm gonna say this just really quickly, proves that when people say you can't make a good story about Superman because he's too powerful, bullshit. You just gotta write good Superman stories. And One Punch Man is about a guy who's so powerful he just destroys everything in one punch, and he's kind of bored. Like, so I really don't want to spoil it much more than that. It's the basic premise. You might think, Rob, they can make a whole series out of that. Oh, they really can. I do know that, Brandon, I do want to do a series recap. The last episode is this
Uh huh.
weekend. It's 13 episodes, and then I want to go through and we're going to do every week, maybe one or two. Like, we'll do a recap episode for the next 13 weeks, and just because a lot of people haven't discovered it yet, despite what
Right.
people think. And you need to get a yellow shirt and a white cape. Um, Got to do it, man. Like,
That's fine.
and a camera so we can put One Punch on there.
I have no shame.
Perfect. So One Punch Man is badass. It's honestly it's like my top 2 or 3 show on TV right now. It's awesome. So
Yeah.
Ashley, you are our guest. I want to go ahead and bring up anything you'd like to bring up. I will answer.
One of your topics.
Okay. Well, since we're kind of okay, we already talked about Star Wars a little bit, but one of my topics kind of has to deal with some of that a little bit, and I was like kind of wanting to bring up the Uncanny Valley of 3D animation.
Can you explain really
And
quick for our
like
audience what the Uncanny Valley is?
the Uncanny Valley basically is when something is very close to looking human, but the qualities just aren't there. Like your eye can just pick out that something's not right.
Like
Whether it be
stitching and things like that.
what?
Like stitching, or like if it's a prop or something.
Yeah, or like maybe the hair is too stiff, or like the skin isn't like I don't
Smooth.
know, like the shading. Like there's just something that your eye, without even knowing it, like instinctually, you can just pick up on that it's just not right. It's not real.
Brandon, have
Okay.
you seen the Polar Express?
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's a
There
good
you
example.
go. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's weird.
or like Toy Story even I mean that's Polar Express was really trying. Toy Story they just weren't ready really for human.
I'd say the original Sid was pretty, but then he was supposed to look pretty evil, so it works out.
Or what was it, Tin Toy? That was like the precursor to
Baby.
yes, the baby.
Yeah.
It was freaky.
Yeah, she's talking about a Pixar short called Tin Toy. They made it in the late '80s. They featured the CG baby that I mean, it's just nightmare fuel at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like. So go ahead, Ashley, continue.
So basically, even the 1997 re-releases of Star Wars, I look at some of the CG effects that they added, and I'm just like, looks kind of bad, like just the like for instance, I think there's one scene where the Millennium Falcon flies past the Empire ship or something, the big white ships, and I think they added a scene where there's 2 guys like talking, but they're completely CGI. They just wanted to add it in just to, I don't know, enhance the shot, even though it didn't enhance anything. In fact, it just made me look at it with a side eye.
Okay.
But like stuff like that, like that's to me, and like it just would have been better if they had left it alone. Like, I mean, he didn't need to do anything to the movies, obviously, but he did anyways, and he like threw away the. Didn't he like throw away everything? Like, you can't even get the originals anymore.
You can't get the originals in a remastered format. Disney did re-release them in a bare bones
Oh,
edition. Yeah, there are those. But
but
yeah, you are correct that Lucas basically the definitive versions right now are his special editions from actually the Blu-ray re-release, which actually had more modifications on top of that. So from
and
2005,
I was noticing the is it called a Rancor? I can't say that name right. The monster.
Rancor. Yeah.
Rancor. Okay, that actually I like that's really cool. The puppetry and the rotoscoping that they did
The
to
spit coming off his mouth.
yeah, like I actually like that scene, even though it's like definitely 1980s, but it looks really cool for 1980s. Like I much prefer that to the new stuff you put in. You know.
So you're basically just because I can follow here. You're saying, is it better to leave the old puppetry in compared to now adding CGI
I
overlays?
I think it is because like it's like it looks unnatural. It just like especially when you're doing that with an old movie. I
Right.
just feel like it was better just to leave it the way it was.
And
But
plus, I agree. I think the original things, even though they're puppets, have more of the magic to it, the
right.
more natural feel of what they were trying to go with, um, compared to going back and adding some random CGI over. It may not look as pretty, the puppets, but it still has the more real sense, as in the actors are talking to something there rather than just Ted, like a
Yeah,
Ted teddy bear. But
yeah. But
so
yeah, that's basically kind of what I had to add that was Star Wars related.
I can add on to that. So basically, photoreal, in my opinion, photoreal is a product of its time and place. Case in point, you could have a movie made in the 30s, shot in the 30s. That's realistic. You can have a movie set in the 30s, shot in the 60s, a movie set in the 30s, shot in the 90s, and a movie set in the 30s, shot today. And you can tell every year that movie set in the 30s was made.
Yeah.
Right? So the level of realism is dependent upon the era in which you look at it. This is why cartoons and art things that require a level of interpretation actually stand the test of time. Like you can look at a Disney animated movie and go, okay, that's 2D animation, but like wow, that it's hand drawn. Your mind is participatory in a way. Like you're filling in some of the blanks. Um, but when something's saying, "Hey, I'm real," your mind then gets into a point where it's going, not really, like, nah, I don't know about that, and it's activating an analytical side of your brain versus a creative and subjective side of your
fun
brain.
side.
Yeah. Now, a couple of the things with CGI, a lot of times this has to do with compositing, and in 1997, compositing wasn't so good. Uh, that being said, nowadays, this movie has puppets and it has CGI. Our compositing is really good. It really is just a matter of how much time they have on these effects to match the lighting. With the prequels and the additions to the special edition, they did that all on a soundstage, and just had to sort of interpret light sources. So there's going to be puppets and Muppet style stuff in this movie on top of CGI. And I think Star Wars is a Western slash samurai movie set in a galaxy somewhere off in the edge of the universe. So I think having a blend of everything is what Star Wars is like best at. When anything leans too much on this and that, I mean, even in Avatar, which was largely CGI, a lot of those like when they land those helicarriers, all the jungle surroundings was actually there on set. So the stuff that's touching up against the actors is real. Everything around that is virtual.
Right.
Because of those are the things that the actors are interacting with. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to locations, we got it down. When it comes to living creatures and humans, got a ways to go. So aliens are better. We still haven't perfected CG humans yet, and when it's done quickly and cheaply, you end up with Brandon's new favorite film, The Turtles, TMNT 2, Out of the Shadows, right, Brandon?
You
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
And correction, Rob, they're in a galaxy far, far away. God, know your Star Wars facts.
Thank you, Brandon. All right, so that's actually a pretty good thing to bring up. If anyone is really interested in this topic, I really recommend a magazine called Cinefex, Cinfex. I've been reading it since like I was a kid. It's an industry trade. It comes out sometimes monthly, sometimes I don't know. I used to have like I'd get it like 6 times a year, so I think it's like every other month. Um, and it's really like in depth on special effects. So they get serious interviews on the the programs they use, the models they made. They cover a wider range of movies. It was basically created when Star Wars was made, and I can't wait to get the new Force Awakens issue. It's a little expensive. It is worth it. It is one of the few magazines out there I can say get it at all costs. Even if you don't know what they're talking about, it's a really great read if you're
What is
creative and
it, like $20?
per issue.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's an industry trade, but it's fantastic. Cinefex, there's nothing like it. So all right, awesome. We got another topic.
Pick the top one on yours, Ashley.
Oh, Rule 34.
Yep. What is that?
It's horrific. That's what it is. Okay, so Rule 34 basically means that anything that you can think of or any character that you know, there's porn of it on the internet, basically. Whether pretty much somebody's probably drawn a crude interpretation of something, you know, but that's pretty much what Rule 34 is. And a lot of times I'll find this where I'm like, oh, I go check out what's going on with the Ninja Turtles, or maybe I need a reference, and then you see like Donnie and April in bed with each other or something. You're like, who does that? Well, somebody, basically that's what it is. Stuff like that.
What made you think of that? Were you just researching stuff
I just every now and then I'll be looking at some, like I have a childhood, favorite movie, and I'll go and look up. I don't know. Like I said, I'll look up like images. Just I don't know why, but
So what you're saying is you love Mrs. Doubtfire. You type in Mrs. Doubtfire art, and you get some disturbing pictures of Robin Williams. God rest his soul. Like, oh no, that's not good. Here's the thing about this. I have this thing, right? Like the internet loves to come up with memes that then pontificate or proliferate. I don't know what's the word I'm thinking of. I'm not a wordsmith. That further the internet's a belief that everything started and stops with the internet. So to bring it back to Star Wars, because this is how clever I am. Way back in 1978, George Lucas had control of all the licensing of Star Wars in between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, right? That's what he had.
Right.
And he loved. There was a movie came out that called Hardware Wars. It was the first fan film that kind of spoofed Star Wars. People thought he was gonna have he should have sued them. He thought it was awesome, but it was like Mark Hamill or Gary Kurtz, the producer, I think it was, of Star Wars, brought back. This is recorded in a book called How Star Wars Conquered the Universe. There's an audio version too. I highly recommend it. He brought back these manga from Japan of the Star Wars characters doing the dirty. And freaked George Lucas out. That's when they had to have a whole legal department to start to go. Like George is fine with parody, Mad Magazine, all that stuff, but he had to get together with Fox and go after the porn. And this took itself all the way up to the mid 90s when there was this anime called Starballs. It was big at Comic Con. I remember it was like 97, 98. I was racing down to see. That was the year Kevin Smith's booth blew up, and I wanted to ask him about Superman before that came out. And I ran by this giant wall of anime, and it was like this tent, and it was Starballs everywhere. I was like, "What the fuck is?" Like I was like, "Ooh, that ain't gonna go well," And they had a lawsuit, but they upheld. It's counted as parody. The downside to this is you're right. Like when you're in the art department at work and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go get some reference for Boba Fett, and the worst parts of the internet show up on your screen. People in the art department could just walk by and go, what? And I'm not saying it's happened to me. I'm just saying that it has happened to people. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird thing. It's also, I know, like in Japan specifically with the manga, it's how a lot of up and coming artists make their name over there. Like they do these fan mangas, and half of them are pornographic because quite frankly, there's a lot of guys out there who just spend their money on that kind of stuff. So
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
mermaids, Brandon.
yes, God damn it.
Like, I don't really have a problem if it's like done well, but when it's done crudely, I'm just like, okay, no. Like, it's I don't know, it's just
So
off-putting.
not to cut you off, Ashley, but so you were telling me, I know we've talked before, but you've yet to do like a con, right? Like you've never done like a con where you had a table set up or anything like that, right?
I've been a vendor because I used
Uh-huh.
to sell t-shirts, and that was fun.
But you've
Yeah.
never sat there and taken commissions and drawn, correct?
No, not
Uh,
like here. Yeah, no, I haven't done that.
Okay. Have you had people hit you up on the internet for commissions?
No, but
Okay.
I'm not like trying. I'm not like like
It's
looking.
not a judgment.
No, it's not a jet. No, 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 no. What I'm getting to is here. Me and Rob, we've been doing commissions for cons, commissions, everything for a long time. Him longer than me. And you come across some really fucked up, disturbing shit people ask you to draw. Now,
Yeah.
my question is to you, moving forward, if someone asks you to draw something where maybe tasteful or maybe crude, do you take the money and do it, or do you deny it?
Uh,
Because go ahead.
well, I've drawn intimate stuff before. I've drawn so I mean, I don't post it, but I have done it
Right.
just because because it's good practice, like to know the human body and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So yeah, no, I probably wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. I think it's just certain things that I'm like not okay with, like, or it's like it's kind of a jolt sometimes,
Hmm.
with certain things that you're just not expecting, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah, because you're gonna get, as you move into cons, as sad as it is, you're gonna get fanboys that I don't know if they'll approach you to draw it, but because I'm not a girl and I've never been in that shoes, obviously. But
Yeah.
guys will come up to me and Rob, and they will ask us to draw weird, semi fetish shit. We have this mermaid guy who
We met over
always
the mermaid guy,
we
Brandon. You got to
met.
preface
Yes,
that. Like,
yes. Me and Rob, how this romance started. This guy was having Rob do many mermaid drawings, and he had a folder of different references of
for 3 years at cons,
yeah.
this guy would come around because I used to go to these little wizard worlds. There would be one here, there would be one in Anaheim, there would be one up in LA, and I would go to these wizard worlds because I could get them for like $100 a table. And I'm like, well, at that point, I'll just go and do commissions and sell prints. So for 3 years, this guy went to every con. If I went to Phoenix, he was there. If I went to Anaheim, he was there. And you need money, so you're like, all right, I'll draw a fucking mermaid. And he'd have this folder with
It's
all
the
this
creepiest thing.
yeah, all this mermaid ref, and
Uh,
he would pick different outfits and put them together and okay, and that's coming along good. Like he
Imagine going into a building, okay, and the whole building's lit, Ashley, and then
mhm.
you see this one back room that's dark as fuck, and they're like, "Yeah, come into this back room." That's how you feel when this guy opens the folder. You're like, "I don't want to go back there," and he's like, "No, just come on, just come back here real quick." You're like, "I don't want to do it,"
I'm
and
pretty
before you
certain
know,
we could all start. There's a lot of artists out there who could start a support group on the mermaid guy, like Kilgrave and Jessica Jones.
right?
We could all meet up at the Dunkin' Donuts and just hi. He made me draw horrific mermaids. But this one con I went to up in LA, it was 2007 is when I met Brandon. I was doing pretty well. That was the first year I was like, I'm actually making money. I don't need the mermaid shit. So he came by and I just like, I'm busy. I don't got no.
Forced them on me.
And Brandon needed money. I'm like, that guy's available. Like,
He's like, "No, no, no." You're like, "This guy." The guy comes in and he's like, "Yeah, so your buddy Robert said you could draw the best mermaids. You could
yeah.
just hook it up. You will go to town on these mermaids." So next thing I know, I'm drawing three fucking. I mean, it was commission work, but three very uncomfortable mermaids, and I felt dirty. I put a lot of Purell, that hand sanitizer, all of my hands out. It was. I lit myself on fire. It
Yeah.
was, but no shame. I've drawn stuff where people ask me at cons, and I say, "Listen, I'll go home and draw that, but I'm not going to sign it." I'm like, "You're going to pay me a little extra. I'll draw it for you, but I'm not going to sign it." And I've drawn some weird shit that I don't know if I should say, but
No, it's cool.
it's out there, and I took the money, but I didn't sign it.
We keep it
But
real on Sketchcraft. Like, you're gonna
oh
find out, folks. You go to cons and you're like, how much did I spend on this table in the fucking hotel?
yeah, you think like, "Oh, I'm going to be picky." No, no. You'll draw what they want you to draw. You'll dance for that money.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if someone did ask me, I honestly probably would not have a problem. 3 years ago, I would have, but now I just probably be like, sure, money. exactly.
You say that until you're at a con with me and Rob, and we send them all your way.
Yeah, I
Next thing
know.
we know, you're flipping your table like, "Fuck this shit, I quit."
Yeah, Dan might be overwhelming. Be like, maybe it wasn't.
Right.
But yeah.
Local artist Ashley stabs man in face with pencil. That's how that's gonna go down.
Alrighty. So, Ash, you got one other topic?
Me?
Yeah, you had one more we're here
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yes. Okay. So on YouTube, I'm fairly new to like YouTube and all that, but so I was emailed or contacted by should I say the channel or
Yeah, sure. There's none on the internet
yeah.
don't already know.
So, okay, so I was contacted by Frederator channel, and Frederator is actually the network that produces Adventure Time and the Fairly Odd Parents. So like I'm already familiar with it. But they also have a network where they have a community of artists and animators that make up little shorts, and you've actually probably seen them before on Facebook. There's like, I mean, they're everywhere. There's a 2,000 people in that community. So anyways, or creators. So anyways, they asked me to be part of their community. They're like, we think you'd be a really good fit, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to join? And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I'd like to talk to somebody first. And I talked to somebody, and then they sent me like a contract to sign. And I was like, they're like, you get to keep 100% of your content. It's all yours. But, you're signing, you're signing, basically, it was saying things like, they get a certain amount of percentage, and you get a certain amount of percentage, because you do make money from like certain just ads, I guess, like they advertise on your videos anyways. But anyways, what I'm trying to get to is that I feel like I'm losing control with joining a community, especially one that you have to sign a contract. I feel like, what if they were gonna distribute my stuff in a way I wasn't comfortable with, and then I would be sort of stuck in an agreement, at least for a year. So that's kind of like I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot. I get a lot of these emails. Join our network. Join our network. Join our network. And I recently a couple months ago, I did the YouTube invited me. You'll invite you eventually. There's these classes they do, these online web classes about they kind of, once you hit a certain point, they invite you to these classes that kind of help you cover some basics about things you should have in all your videos and how to make sure you're linked and things you can do, and you can ask questions about how to grow your channel. And the one that constantly comes up is about joining these, these groups. No group will bring you more views. I'm just gonna let you know right now. Like you can join a group, they're not gonna get you more views. Uh, uh, only time, anything that the only time that you're gonna get something like that would be like, say you got a job with like Adult Swim. You know what I mean? Like an actual paid gig, and you're like, okay, now then they're like, Ashley, we want to have you on our channel, and we're gonna like if you went to work at Collider, you would be on their channel producing content. You see what I mean? You would be
Mm-hmm.
paid as an employee. They're not gonna be like, we'll do a thing where you do whatever and you come on here, we'll cut a check. This is like these T-shirt places online that do these 24-hour sales. They're like, you could put your design up here and sell your T-shirt for 24 hours and you'll get a cut. You're not gonna see anything really. You might, maybe, maybe not. More unlikely or not. What I tell everyone to do is just my own advice would be never sign a contract unless it's for a place that's going to pay you for actual work. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not a legal person. You know, you don't know how to interpret. None of us really know how to interpret legal code. Legalese.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, there's something in there that says you don't actually own whatever you make. If you want to get big on YouTube, the best thing to do is produce great content and network. Try to find
Yeah.
people you'd like to team up with, ask them on your podcast, have them ask questions, put them in the little thumbnail, promote it, and then
No
vice
one asked
versa.
me to join.
No one cares about you, Brandon. Like,
No one
I'm the
asked
only one.
me.
I'm the only one who cares.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
I did have my attorney look at it because I do have one, but um, he
damn.
was just like, be careful, just take your time. He didn't see any red flags, but he still told me to be careful. And I haven't signed it, and it's definitely from what you said. I'm not going to. but I wanted to bring it up.
Just produce great content. I think everyone else should know too. I just think that we live much like diagnosing your own health on the internet. It's not good to try and diagnose your own legal advice on the internet too. you
Right.
know, like and I think recently at the to bring it back to Star Wars, the last D23. No, actually, it was at Comic Con. Someone asked JJ about, after having worked on Star Wars, will he bring anything back when he develops his own IP or something? And he was like, IP, like fans are using this legalese code, these terms that you know what I mean. They don't,
Right.
so like you can come over here, join my community. Personally, I think the best thing to do is keep yourself visible on the internet as an artist. Keep yourself visible, produce great content, promote whatever you can, network, team up whenever you can. Just do short. Hey, let's say
Like
Ashley,
this.
you did. Yeah, let's say you did animation. You set it all up, and you want to have someone just do a voice that's a popular person on, like a PewDiePie or something. You're like, hey, can you just do a voice? All you have to do is read these lines. I already got it set up. I got you all set up, and then they'll promote you, and that's actually the best way. And then if you monetize your account, you keep every dime of it. I'm just telling you, there is plenty of time to go and sign up with an employer and have them rip you off. I mean, I've been there.
Right.
It's no shortage of that out there.
Yeah.
I
And
think. Oh,
go ahead.
well, I was gonna. I think with the way the internet is and internet fame and just the way people do things now with, let's say, YouTube and Vine and Periscope and everything there is now, there's no real reason anymore to sign contracts, in my opinion, in any genre. Like even musicians now, you can produce your own music. You can self shoot it with a phone now because our phones shoot 4K. You can directly upload it to YouTube. You have all the rights, your own stuff. I mean, you obviously have something good because they hit you up. You have something good. They want a part of it. So why give them a part of something good that you're already making on your own when obviously other people are recognizing it? And I mean, you got something, they want it, you keep it for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no reason to sign up with other people. And like Rob says, you could always, team up with somebody on something like this. You're talking with us on this, you link it to your page, people hear you on this, they go, they like you. I think I found your art page through Rob. I
Yeah.
think something like that. And I like your art. I've
I know
told you
you,
before.
Rob, too. So, and this is much more fun. So, like,
Right. And there's no contracts. And you being on this podcast will get you just as many views, maybe, as signing up with them for a year. You never know. And there's no, I don't know. I just don't see the reason, not because I'm not getting offered, because I still wouldn't, but there's going to be people that'll ask you to do things. When I started doing stuff for Rob, 3D modeling, all of a sudden people were asking me to work on their Kickstarters. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh shit, all right. But I told them no because I stick with Rob. But
right.
there's always going to be people wanting you if you're doing something good. But if you can produce it on your own, or at least with a tight knit few, do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the first things we talked about, Ashley, you had a question about, whether you should show your own stuff or show fan art. Will people steal your ideas?
Yeah.
And my advice to that was, people wondering, should I show my own characters? What if people steal them? Um, I'll say this to answer that question. People only steal things that are successful. So if you're not famous, they're really not going to steal from you.
No.
Um, and and if you're famous and they steal, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like you can't really stop people from like being inspired by. I have people that Brandon, we were just at a Phoenix Con and some guy was reproducing a saucy that I just did like the night before.
He
Like
did the night before. Someone asked for a sketch at the con on one of my buddy's sketchbooks. He walks by and I'm like, "Why do you have Rob's art on your sketchbook?" He goes, "No, I got a sketch from a guy down the way." And I'm like, I pull out Rob's art that he did the night before, and they're like, "Holy shit, that's almost identical." I'm like, "No, that is identical down to where the sword was placed, the badge on Deadpool,
it's
it
it
was
happens and you
yeah,
just got to take it as a sign of like, well, you know, like okay, it's endearing. Thank you. Hey, you're on the right track. I would say this though too. When it comes to your own stuff, do not like I worked on this book, um, and I was working on this book called Monstroids with the guy who created the Underworld movies, and I didn't have a stake in the ownership of this particular book. The one I had pitched before that, I had a stake of ownership in. They the writer didn't produce it, so they put me on this book as just a paid artist. But he had signed a deal with this company that they own the right to the book for 5 years. 5 years. The book was not produced. They only did a zero issue. They could never agree on scripts, and then the company folded within 3 years. So for 2 years, that contract's still bound. He had to sit on it until like now. Where he's like, I can kind of start to do something with this, and he's like, Rob, you want to draw it? I'm like, no, I don't want to draw it. Like we did this 5 years ago, man. But that's tough, and I grew up in the era of self-publishing, in the early '90s with Dave Sim, and then the rise of Image Comics, and that all went away when the market crashed in '98. But with Kickstarter in 2010, I was like, this can come back. We can all self-publish now. There's no reason, but I advise to produce your own stuff, sell it yourself, through Kickstarter, crowdfunding, whatever you want to do, webcomic, go to cons, sell it, whatever you want to do. And then use fan art to promote yourself. And then if someone wants to hire you to draw a project for them, it's either a paid gig, or you know what I mean, it's some crazy Mark Millar thing where you're teaming up to create something new and you co-own it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But no one, don't just hand over your characters willy nilly and be like, here you go, because it's crazy. But I mean, like, even if they made 3,000, you'll never see a penny of it. Period. So.
Right. Where you could have took it to Kickstarter or any of those sites and made your own
And then
3,000.
they like to punk you, which is what I get now. I get and I won't name names, but I'll get things from publishers like, Rob, you got to stay relevant. And I'm like, stuff's paying me more than you guys ever did. I don't know what relevancy is, Like, so
You got to be
anyhow,
seen, Rob.
I'm trying, man. And I'm white as shit, bro. Like, I'm trying to be seen. So like, alrighty, it's already 44 minutes in. I was going to go over some mosaic stuff, but I think I'll do that next time. It's been a busy show. It's been a busy show.
Quickly, just a shout out to a couple people that like to share our YouTube videos. Hector and Nick and Chad, and I can't think of the others, but I'll probably say them next time. I appreciate all the people who have been commenting, sharing the YouTube page, and just spreading the love. Just throwing that out there because we appreciate it.
Yeah, we always appreciate promotion. Gimme, gimme, gimme. So, alrighty. Anyways, I'm gonna head out here. Ashley, do you have anything else you'd like to bring up, or?
Uh, no, we covered everything pretty much that I can think of. So,
Awesome. So where can anyone, once again, plug it, where can anyone find you on the internets?
me? Okay, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, uh,
Instagram.
Facebook. What's that last one? Instagram.
Yep.
As Gang Feather. All right.
Awesome. And as for myself and Brandon, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just a little subscribe button below. Say hi on Twitter at Sketchcraft, Sketch, C-R-E-F-T, like Minecraft, Sketchcraft. Or join us direct on the Facebook at Sketchcraft.com. That's where I post every day. I show way too many pics and I fill up your feed. Don't forget, folks, Sketchcraft is recorded in front of a live internet audience and fully supported by viewers like you. Please leave your comments and feedback below. And I'll see you on the next motherfucking Sketchcraft Live. All right.
Whoop.
Whoop.